Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Tuesday Art Chat podcast. I'm your host, Kerri Dixon, wildlife and nature artist, pastel enthusiast, and founder of the Creative Barn membership. Each week we dive into the art world, talking about techniques, creativity, mindset, and all those behind the scene things no one tells you about when you first pick up a pencil or pastel stick. Today we're getting into a topic that makes so many artists squirm: pricing your work. And I don't care if you've been painting for 2 years or 20, pricing can mess with your head. Some beginners overshoot because they've been told to value their time, while seasoned artists sometimes go too low, thinking it will help them sell more. The truth is, both can hurt you, and today I want to break that down, share some real stories, and give you a clearer path to finding your sweet spot. So why pricing is such an emotional topic. Pricing your art is never just about maths. It is emotional. It's about worth, it's about confidence, and let's be honest, it's also about fear. When we set a price, we're not just putting a dollar amount on canvas and paint. We're putting a number on the time, the skill, the years it took to get to where we are. And that's a vulnerable place to be. I hear this from artists all the time. What if no one buys it? What if they think I'm too expensive? Or my favourite is, well, I wouldn't spend that much. Let me stop you right there. You're not your buyer. We'll talk more about this in a bit, but one of the biggest mindset shifts you can make as an artist is to stop using your own budget as the measuring stick for your work's value. Recently, I was chatting with a lovely lady who helps run the Doyle's Art Awards here in Queensland. She told me something really interesting. The works that sell the most here are priced between $300 and $1,000. And you know what? That rings so true for me because my own piece at the Doyle sold for $990. Now, am I saying everyone should run out and slap a $990 price tag on their art? No, but it's proof that there's often a sweet spot in the market, at least in certain settings where buyers feel comfortable. You might find different numbers in your area or with your audience, but it's worth doing your research to find that range. So the collectors have a mindset. Okay, here's the thing about art buyers, especially collectors. If a piece is priced too low, they often don't value it. In fact, they may avoid it altogether. Why? Because art is a luxury item. People who buy original art aren't making the decisions based on what's cheapest. They're buying because they want it, they connect with it, and they can afford it. If they see a piece they love but it's priced lower than what they expect, it can make them question the quality. They might be thinking, why is it so cheap? Or is the artist inexperienced? Or is there something wrong with it? I've even heard collectors say they won't buy work under a certain price. That's how strong the perception of value is. Now, let's bust a myth here. You don't have to be able to afford your own art for it to be priced correctly. Most artists can't. I once heard realist painter David Kazan say he couldn't afford to buy his own work, and that makes perfect sense. Your market isn't made up of artists exactly like you. It's made up of people who value your work, connect with it emotionally, and have the budget to invest. So if you've been holding your pieces down because you think, well, I wouldn't pay that, you're using the wrong measuring stick. So here's where underpricing can really hurt you. It lowers perceived value. Collectors might assume it's low quality. It's unsustainable. You can't cover your time, materials, and business costs. And it traps you. Once your audience gets used to low prices, it's much harder to raise them later. If you want your art practice to be more than a hobby, you need prices that sustain you. So finding your range. How do you find your sweet spot? First, you need to do your homework. So visit local exhibitions and take note of prices and what's actually selling. Check galleries in your area or online that sell work similar in style, size, and medium to yours. And look at how established those artists are and where you fit in on the experience spectrum. In my experience, here's a general guide. Under $200 often sells at markets and craft shows, but usually not large-scale originals. $300 to $1,000, strong sales range in many regional gallery settings, and $1,000 to $3,000 plus, typically for larger works or artists with a strong following and established reputation. So your pricing is a message. I want you to remember this. Your price tells your audience how to view your work. It's like holding up a sign that says, "This is how much I believe this is worth." If you put a number on your work that you don't believe in, your buyers will feel it. Confidence in your pricing shows confidence in your work. So here's the mindset shift. This is where you need to take a deep breath and stop letting your own bank account be the yardstick. Think like your collector, not like yourself. They're not weighing up whether they can afford your painting or their groceries. They're deciding if your work is worth investing in, if it brings them joy, status, beauty, or a connection they can't get anywhere else. The "I wouldn't pay that much" trap. This is where artists price based on their wallet, not their buyer's wallet. If you're an artist, chances are you've spent years juggling materials, shows, and maybe even a side job. So dropping $2,000 on a painting isn't your normal Tuesday. But your collector is likely in a different financial position and is buying for completely different reasons. So art is a luxury good. If your price feels too low for the market you're aiming at, it can actually damage perceived value. Collectors can think, why is it so cheap? Is the artist inexperienced? Will this work hold or increase its value over time? Does this belong in my collection next to my other pieces? So in the luxury market, sometimes lowering your price drops you out of the buying range of the people who actually have the money to spend. And keep in mind that artists aren't your primary buyers. While yes, some artists do buy art, they're not the bulk of your market. They're usually trading or swapping or buying small works they love. Your main buyer demographic is almost always non-artists with disposable income who buy for passion, status, connection, or investment. David Kassan saying that he can't afford his own artwork is spot on because the price is set for the collector, not the creator. It's not about what the artist can afford. It's about what the market for their work can sustain. So pricing will always be part science, part art, and part gut feeling. You'll tweak it as you go. You'll learn from experience. But please don't underprice yourself out of the market. Don't assume lower prices equal more sales, and don't use your own wallet to decide your worth. Art is a luxury item. Price it for the people who can and want to buy it. And remember, when you set your price, you're not just selling a painting, you're selling the years of practice, the skills you've honed, the vision you've developed, and the heart you've poured into it. So that's it for today's Art Chat. If this episode got you thinking about your own pricing, I'd love to hear your thoughts. You can find me on Facebook or Instagram under Kerri Dixon Art, and let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, keep creating, keep believing in the value of your work, and I'll catch you in the next episode.